Everybody ready? So I'll call to order the Utility Commission meeting for Wednesday, February 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. We have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted. Public appearances, none here and no one out there, so we'll move on to 4. Discuss and consider the minutes of the Utility Commission meeting on January 14th, 2026. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one abstaining. Thank you. Discuss and consider approval of the vouchers. I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And no one abstaining. Thank you. Number 7, new business. Discuss impact fee study and provide comments to the village board. My apologies. Discuss unfinished business. Discuss and consider the UpNet lease agreement.
So last Utility Commission, the Utility Commission set some parameters for new lease provisions. You know, we're very happy with the relationship. We just wanted to add an auto renew term as well as apply after 2 years the inflation index. And then we have the number of days notice. You know, should either UpNet or ourselves want to discontinue that agreement. So my recommendation is to approve. Already got approval from UpNet when we reached out to them. They had no feedback on anything that we were asking.
Is this one of our tower agreements? They're on our tower.
Yes, sorry. Yes, this is on tower.
Okay, so the only verbiage that's changing is the renewal.
Yep, renewal and the notice date. So we, as kind of some of good faith, we increased the notice period from the last agreement, which was 60 days to 180 days, because this now has a renewal clause.
Okay. If that's the only thing that's changed, I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement as shown.
A second.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And no one abstaining. Thank you. Gaston Road and County TT water main looping update.
So we are planning to go out to bid. It'll be advertised, this project will advertise next Wednesday. Out of this commission meeting last month in February, we talked about the adjacent properties in the town of Sun Prairie and the town of Cottage Grove. I sent a letter to all of the adjacent property owners. I heard back from 2 of them if they would like to be considered to have water services. I heard back from 2448 Gaston and 2454, so a couple of the first 2 properties. Both were interested to be considered. They were curious on payment, how that would look, when they have to hook up. One thing that I would recommend this committee that is if we did decide to provide service to 2 residents, that we would do it for all the parcels and not just pick and choose. I would also recommend that the property owners wouldn't be able to connect to the water surface until they annexed into the village. At that point in time, they would also have to run public sanitary sewer as well, because there is no public sewer on that road. So kind of twofold there. And as a reminder, when we did the Vilas Road water main and sewer extension back in 2020, we did not provide any stubs for any water services to any parcels not in the town, or not in the village, oops, sorry. We have coordinated with the developer that is on the Hoekstrasse property, the sports complex, and we are providing a T there just to set that up in the future, but that can be relocated and not installed if that development does not go through.
Refresh my memory. With the road impacts as we install this pipe, all we're doing is patching whatever we disturb as we install this pipe. But my only reason being is, if that's all we're doing, I'm fine with not putting any water services on it. But if we're going to make improvements to this road, I don't want to tear it back up to put services in later, then I would be in favor of putting the water services in now.
Twofold. So right now, and I'm working in strands with that last minute conversations with this, because we just met with the developer, the adjacent developer for the sports complex last week, and they're planning to come to Plan Commission next month. As part of their pre-annexation agreement, they were required to repave that entire street. Obviously, I'm not going to repave the street, or we're not going to repave the street and then them going to come back. So ideally, my hope is we can come to an agreement with that developer, because we also are installing a water main loop through their property as intended. So there's kind of some give and take there on what that looks like cost-wise. Right now, I have it where whatever we would disturb, we would only go half the road we would mill, but the road is also in really horrible shape, and so it needs to be replaced in general. There's a kind of a moving parts with the sports complex, to where I don't want this committee to place a new road when they're coming through on the developer side, and how that timing plays out should that development move forward. So we've got contingencies in the bid alternative, if that, for the paving. So right now, our base bid and how it's going to be bid out is the water main's going to be installed, and the alternative bid includes any paving on Gaston Road. This way, it gives us the opportunity not to do it if the developer's coming in after us.
Okay, help me, and maybe this is a Cameron question. If we were to install service stubs to the private properties that are along Gaston Road that front this main, is there a way to get reimbursed by the private landowners for those lateral stubs when they should annex and legally be able to hook up to this main? Or are we on the hook for the cost of services from the pipe to the right-of-way?
Correct.
Okay.
Because it's like we are typically the persons that install that aspect. So anytime now, if someone is annexed in and they would like to connect to our main, they have to pay for the cost for that install.
Okay. I understand that the asphalt is an alternate, that potentially it could happen when and if the development happens, which is fantastic. If you can comment on this, if the development moves forward, are they improving the road or simply repaving the road as a rural section?
It is anticipated per the pre-annexation agreement that it would be urbanized to their first location of entrance on Gaston Road and 75 feet past that. So it may only be 200 feet of Gaston Road. The rest of it will be a rural section, rural driveway section.
Okay. My only comment is if and when it's gonna get improved to an urban section, we want services under there before that's done. So is now the time to do it?
And at this point in time, all of Gaston Road is not being urbanized if that development goes through. It's only going to be the south side along their parcel.
And are there any water services that would be within that portion?
No, there may be one.
Okay.
Most of them are on the north side. The other thing to consider for this committee is that the area up there, the existing parcels in the town are all residential parcels. Should they annex in, what does that look like in terms of, are they still saying residential? Is that going to be a further commercial park, given the commercial and industries next to it, the properties next to it? Where if we put a 1-inch service in now, what happens if it's gonna need a 6-inch service? You're still taking up the road.
Okay. Then I'd be inclined to say that we would not be installing any service stubs as part of this project.
And there'll be more to come once this agreement is either up or down, right?
Yep. Well, I'll have a better answer here next month.
Okay, so we'll basically just table this for the time being?
Yep, I won't include services in the
For next
project, in the project to be bid out next week.
Okay, thank you. And then Vilas Road sanitary sewer repair update.
So after the meeting last month on the dip that we have on Vilas Road sewer, and given the risk involved, we talked more in depth with our attorneys and they recommended that we bid that project out separately. I could not find soil borings from when that project was done in 2020. Given that we are by a creek and there's so much risk associated with it, as we talked about, I'd want to get soil borings if we were going to bid that project out. It is my recommendation that we hold off in 2026 and we try to put it into a project in 2027 when we have sanitary sewer pipe going in either on the County Highway N project or the Ollie Street project. I think we'll get a better result for that. And it gives us some more time to get soil borings, and we're not getting just 2 soil borings at that location when we're gonna have to get soil borings throughout the entire village for next year's project. So kind of a cost savings there. We are not planning on directing flow at this moment from the Vilas Farm Interceptor project, because I knew that was gonna be your question. We're going to continue to remove the wall and where it can be directed, but we're planning to put a plug in it. And should any development happen off of the farm interceptor, we would be able to take that flow. We're just not diverting all of the flow, and we'd be able to monitor that better.
Well timed, Mike. Okay, any other discussion on the sewer repair? Okay, thank you again, and hopefully, I know it'll get done right this time. Oh, I have a lot of faith in you. And the workers. Okay, now I can do number 7, new business, discuss impact fee study and provide comments to the village board.
Yeah, so just to frame this up for discussion at Utility Commission, Utility Commission will be tasked to focus just on water and sewer portions of the public facility needs assessment. Because this is ordinance, Utility Commission does not have the ability to change ordinance, which is why this ultimately goes to village board for approval. That being said, I wanted the Utility Commission to have an opportunity to provide any feedback they deem necessary for the village board to consider in the first meeting in March. At a first kind of high level of the study, and I have no intention to go through the full study in detail. I can certainly go in any section as questions come up, but if we kind of look at our existing water impact fees, that the cost was updated in 2006, that dollar amount is $1,215. The new fee would be $1,518. And then for sewer, depending on where you are in the village, we're looking at the old fee was $2,055, and the new fee the total possible would be $2,563, but in some areas of the village would be $300. And so on the sewer side, we had to, a portion of that fee will be only attached to the watershed associated with the ridge lift station, making sure that we're 100% recovering the costs associated with that infrastructure when a permit's pulled in the area where that development would occur. And then obviously, I touched on it briefly, but well 5 has contingent on PSC approval, further discussions, but this is going to start saving for that project because that would be 100% attributed to new growth. And so we want to start recapturing costs to start work on that in about 8 years. So here to answer any questions, take feedback.
I have a question. So it says on here that the new monthly fee for the proposed impact fees is $41. Do you know how much of that is water sewer? How much of that is
Yeah,
the public safety impact fee?
How you would calculate that is you could take, so if the new all-in fees as the study is presented, if we were looking at water being $1,518 divided by the $6,239 total fee, you could get a percentage of what that monthly dollar amount is in that $41. I did get some feedback that When I share this with the village board, it will have what the existing impact fee cost is on the monthly home compared by the water and sewer, and then the new fee, obviously monthly by law enforcement, water, sewer. So that will be an additional table. One table that wasn't presented here but will be presented at Village is the cost of pulling a permit in our comparable communities in Dane County. So not only the impact fee costs, but park fee costs and building permit costs, just to make sure that the board has that information in determining final amounts.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is that $41 includes the total amount of the water and sewer and not just the difference between the new and the old?
Correct, the total.
Okay.
And so to appropriately kind of show from a comparability perspective, that supplemental information will be provided to the board, because the delta between the old fees and the new fees is only $508 for sewer in the most expensive areas of the village, and in other areas of the village, significantly less.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we're able to weigh in on this, my comment is, this is getting to be towards the top end of my experience of what is doable for a building permit impact fee. I would really love to see how this compares to neighboring communities. But we're looking at pushing a building permit fee significantly over $10,000 to build a house. And that means the permit fee alone is, in that 4 to 5% cost of the home. And it's really becoming significant. But I'd be anxious or curious to see how that compares to other communities adjacent to us. I mean, I know I've gotten feedback from people who have said that they have started to look elsewhere for property because the fees are outrageous.
And so that is why at the village board, that we'll have that table put together. It is roughly $12,000 with the new fees for all impact fee, park fees, and everything combined. That would put us $2,000 more than the closest community, which would be McFarland, which was already. And our current fees are roughly $8,000. So that would be a $4,000 delta. And if we're putting this into comparison, DeForest and Wanakee are about $4,000 to $5,000. So it's putting a significant economic disadvantage compared to two other communities that are within a.
So we're currently at 8,000. We'd be talking about going to 12,000. So we're talking about a 50% fee increase on the impact fees for a standard building permit. And what you're telling me is we're already almost double what those other significant comparable communities are for impact fees.
Correct. So, and really what the philosophy at the village has been is, don't be the highest, don't be the lowest. Median is kind of where our target, we want to balance that cost share. And especially on the utility side, because we can't generate, through user fees is likely not the most appropriate way to have the existing users burden the whole weight of the cost. So when development comes, so for anything that's levied, for example, that burden can be spread out with the more base that's created. So when a new home is created, or several new homes that are created, that's factored in some of the growth and repayment projections from a financing plan. From a utility perspective, this is our best bang for our buck option. So if I had to pick between one of these fees, I would strongly encourage the water and sewer fees because of how not having these fees could have a significant impact to existing ratepayers. Whereas if additional development comes in, that will reduce the already forecasted rate of what the cost of the police station, the capacity. And so I want to keep the focus primarily on the water and sewer discussion here, but really the way that the study has to be worded is it says, okay, if you're gonna go this route, these are the variables that you can use to attribute cost. It's not saying this is a direct cost to the village and this is how you should charge it out, because it doesn't factor in that as additional homes are levied, our levy capacity increases and it's additional base to spread the cost. So it kind of is dealing in absolutes when you're just looking at how the study is worded, and that's why this dialogue is important. And I strongly encourage any residents and developers to come to the meetings on the 19th, and there's feedback forms on our website that people can submit feedback to the village board, because the village board, if they don't have any feedback, they're gonna, I would imagine it would be consistent on, things that they have communicated in prior meetings.
Okay, I just, that's what I'm struggling with, and I understand it as a whole. It'd be really nice if we were able to see numbers that was comparable to other communities related to just the sewer and the water components of what we're supposed to comment on. That makes it more difficult. But, yes, I agree. I don't want to be the highest, I don't want to be the lowest, but the only thing we've talked about so far is us being significantly higher than some comparables. So I'd be curious to know how we compare overall, if we truly are in the middle or if we are significantly higher as stated.
So how difficult is it, Cam, for you to get just the utility taken out so you can compare the communities just to the utilities?
So I want to be careful on the utility side because every community is at a little bit different stages in their lifestyle. So like Monona, for example, mostly built out. They're not necessarily in need of massive new infrastructure like regional lift stations or new additional well infrastructure. So that our fees might be more than communities like that, but that's because there's not really the scale of development that has, from a percentage perspective, that has been at the village. So if I'm looking at kind of, other communities, we're very comparable to McFarland for aggregate water and sewer impact fees. For DeForest and Wanakee, they've just taken a stance that they will recover their costs through development. They'll get the additional increase in their fixed costs on their fee structures for their water, and that's just how they'll pay for the infrastructure as it comes in. It's just kind of a philosophy difference. And so we're obviously all fighting for the same housing development in this local area. It's how, however the board ends up going. I do have concerns though at the 12,000 being $2,000 more than the highest that would put us at an economic disadvantage.
But aren't we, I've read we're a very desirable community to live in. Unfortunately, all we're building is apartments now. So I appreciate the fact that we'd like to have some homes and we don't want to price them out. But at the same time, I don't want the people that live here to be on the boot for, a new fire station, a new police station, and everything else that is required, So I agree with Mike that hopefully we can get it down a little bit so we're somewhere more reasonable. But I don't want the taxpayers to have a new fire station and we pay for it, and a new police station and then we end up paying for it, and the people that come here aren't paying for it or aren't taking their share of it. That's my only concern. And like I said, why it's so high, that's something for the board to discuss. I just want the utility to be in the middle, so to speak. And everything else we'll have to figure out at the village board, not here.
The well 5, if I was putting my priority together, the well 5 amount and how the impact fee is structured on that, I would say it would really force the village to take, or the water utility to take on debt for that project instead of kind of saving up as development occurs and then building it. And then obviously for sewer, it's hard because in some areas of the community, it's going to be $300. So if you're taking just the $300 and reducing the impact fee by $2,200-ish, then that brings it right back into the middle with everybody else. And so really that's where on the sewer side, you're seeing that comparability more, but we want to make sure for that area of the village that is impacted so greatly by that lift station, that they're paying that kind of buy-in of the system. So, but it does, even if in the village, you're talking about the east side of the village having an economic benefit to develop in comparison to the west side, because that's where the fee is going to be greatest on that watershed.
It'd be greater in the east side where the development is happening?
West side.
Because there's less impact fees on the west side.
East.
The east side's got the Ridge lift station.
I have the directions flip-flop. Thank you, Kyla.
He's never eaten soggy waffles, he's not doing it.
All right, any other,
Yeah, Cameron, you mentioned an upcoming meeting on the 19th that public can provide input into building permit costs and impact fees, the 19th of which month?
Of February.
And which meeting is that going to be?
It's going to be a meeting held by Aaron, Ruth, and myself. So there's a virtual component that residents can join from noon to 1, and then an in-person meeting from 5 to 6. And building permit costs we'll take that feedback, but the primary focus of that will be commenting on the impact fees themselves.
And that's on the village website, you said?
Yep, village website, village Facebook page. The form is under the village project page, so where you go to see the current projects. We have the revaluation tab there, and we have the impact fee. And so the form that you can fill out to provide feedback is on there as well.
Great, thanks.
okay, thanks, Cam. Any other discussion? Okay, thank you. Number 8, Director and Engineer Report.
I'll quickly go through this. It's all attached in your agenda. We did our meter inventory at the end of 2025 for 2026, and we restocked quite a few meters, so we have enough in stock as Heyday is being developed and as we replace and new homes are built. On the engineering side, Heyday Cottage Grove doesn't have any updates from last month. It's been cold. They haven't been working. On the Well 2 side, last month, this committee approved Findorf to move forward. We had a pre-construction meeting last Friday after I'd already completed this report. And talking with Findorf, kind of very much like our SCADA project that we just finished with this committee. The SCADA and electrical components of the Well 2 are back there. It's like a 60-week max, like 48 to 60-week lead time. So we are coming up with the best solution to move forward where our well is not down for 60 weeks. So at this time, we are planning on moving forward with kind of a late summer, early fall start where Findorf can come in, get all the underground work completed, pour the footings of the building, get that stuff done, come on hold, wait until winter conditions are over, and then build the rest of the building in the spring. This way, we're only down for a shorter period of time instead of a whole year and a half. With that, Cameron wanted me to make sure to tell everybody that we deferred a portion of our borrowing to reduce interest costs for that project with pushing it out. This way, we don't have additional costs on that. We already talked about the Gaston Road and TT water main looping, and then as for the Farm Interceptor project, they are finishing main line today, I was told, and are finishing services yet this week. So the pipe will all be in by the end of the week. They just have testing to do, which we require a 30-day wait period before they can air test and pressure test. The sanitary sewer, so substantial completion will be coming here in March, mid-March of next month. Any questions for me?
Okay, thank you very much. And number 9, future agenda items.
We will have the Gaston looping project that the bids will be coming in for the next meeting.
Okay,
And I'll be here to present 2025 financial results for water and sewer utility next meeting.
okay. Any other items? How about the comparison on the impact fees? Can you do that by next month? Or is that a done deal?
I will send that update to the utility commission. It won't be a direct agenda item because it will be considered at village board prior to.
Okay. All right, thanks, Cam. All right, number 10, adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.